have some non-copyright lo-fi playing in the background. This stream is going under this stream is gonna be going under how do I say? Squares music crits and his own thermal damage. I don't know why I have that. I think that's just because I can be more of a tank in my tie-in. This is gonna be more of a emotional journey. It's where I be honest about myself and the things I've been through and gain strength through vulnerability. I've always been someone to have trust issues in my life. And to me, this is me getting everything out there so I can grow stronger from this experience. There's gonna be some mindless gameplay in the back, so yes, technically this is not just chatting, but I don't give a shit because I'm not doing this for that gameplay. I'm doing it to be archived so I can be out there. This is a big moment for me because honestly, I never really go out about this stuff. I'm never really outspoken about this to anyone. And to me, this is just the best way to really grow as a person. At this point in my life, I feel like the thing I need to be is honest with myself and clear about it. And only then can I gain some level of emotional maturity through it. So first, I'm gonna go through saying what I personally am diagnosed with, because, well, I don't think I need to say why, but if it will provide any different form of understanding. This lo-fi is not gonna be okay. This lo-fi is not in the right mood. Okay. Alright. NCS, chill. Non-copyright. Chill, lo-fi. That's 3-hour stream of lo-fi hip-hop, NCM, non-copyright chill study. Okay. Can I get, like, bullshit? Yeah, this is about as chill as we're gonna get. Alright. I'm gonna move to the live stream soon. You already can hear it. I'm probably gonna be muting that right now. I don't know where I can go to that. Give me a sec. I think I'm gonna have to go into my audio settings as a whole. So as I've already stated, this is just a mental health clarity stream where I talk about the shit that I've been through personally to gain, how do I say, clarity to some degree.
Oh, Mr. Shields are dropping.
Let me just mute this shit by OG and Xbox Live Companion. There we go. I'm gonna go to live stream now, where you're just gonna see mindless gameplay of me in the back playing some Titanfall, just to kind of go over what I'm currently talking about, the mindless Frontier Assault gameplay. I know this is not technically just chatting, but I'm not actually, you know, as I said, really doing just chatting. I'm just kind of using it because the stream is not at all about the gameplay. It's 100% about gaining my own level of emotional clarity through admittance. So the things that I've been diagnosed with over the years have been PTSD, crippling depression, the autism spectrum disorder, ADHD, Asperger's, OCD, ODD, and among other things that are not as severe those. That's probably the most severe of them. So those are all I'm going to go into for now. So I'm just gonna basically give out my life story for all public eyes to see. Because for me, that is what I need to do to gain some level of clarity. So the first thing is that, quite frankly, when I was 4 years old, I was diagnosed with the autism spectrum disorder. And at the same time that happened is when my shit-fuck of a father left my mother in a single parent position because of, well, assumedly, what we all assume is to be my autism spectrum disorder and the troubles that come with it. Throughout the years, he's provided many troubles, but we're just going to go in order. He'll come back up again, but under the alias of Shay. It's very hard for me, so if I stutter, my apologies. I also barely got any sleep last night, but I knew that I needed to put this out there, so for myself and the people around me that I choose to associate myself with. Anyway, that's what happened at the age of 4. I never really fit in at school at all. There's a number of things due to the whole, autism spectrum disorder, to say the least. Just the whole social awkwardness of that, not knowing how to really approach social situations. It was always hard for me to, well, cope with, as you can imagine. But it never really was a problem until 3rd grade, which we'll get to. But sorry if I sound scattered. It's just I really didn't prepare a script for this. I didn't even know I was expecting to do it. Anyway, what I was gonna say is, from around the age of, from when I was, of course, in kindergarten to around 3rd grade, when I moved schools. I was in a school known as Lemoyne. I probably shouldn't say that shit. And quite frankly, I really didn't fit in there at all, for obvious reasons, like my autism. But we ended up moving, and a war was always raging at home, to be quite frank with you. Because of my mom being a single mother and all that, and of course it being hard for her, we would always fight at home, even from the ages of kindergarten to, well, 3rd grade. When it was 3rd grade, I ended up switching schools to another school, another local school district, since I did in fact move, which, as you can imagine, was hard for me and my mother. But it was even harder when, in all actuality, that's when most of my problems started. Because due to said autism, I was brutally bullied from around 3rd grade to 8th grade. This ranged on to verbal to, at some points, physical abuse. Due to my school's system, they didn't ever really do anything the fuck about it, despite make it worse. And quite frankly, if anything's to be learned from this, I hope it's that the education system can somewhat be fucking not as shit as it fucking is now, because it's god awful in terms of handling bullying and its effects on kids, at least from my school's perspective. anyway, of course, the verbal abuse just was always a constant. And said stress started to carry on to my home life, where me and my mom's situation was already quite fucking volatile. And, well, let's just say it got even more volatile because of the stress of said emotional abuse at school carrying over to my home life. It would always just be us screaming at each other at home, which led to very volatile situations where at that point we were just very verbally abusive to each other. So I've never really had any real life friends, to say the least, which is why video games make so much to me. But and yes, I understand this is scatterbrained as fuck, but I am tired as shit, and that's all I have about that. But I need to stop addressing it scatterbrained and get on with it. I'm clearly stalling. Anyway, from about to when I hit around 6th grade is when the verbal abuse got really fucking bad, because of course middle school, all that shit, kids are starting to learn swear words, which also made my home situation that much fucking worse, because it was no longer just me calling my mom a stoopyhead, but it was more of me calling her a fucking cunt. Don't worry, me and my mom's situation since then has gotten a lot better, but that's not what we're currently at about. But the emotional abuse that I did face during that time was absolutely fucking terrible, to say the least. And the way my school handled it was even worse. My school did this horrible fucking thing where basically what they would decide to fucking do is they would take kids. It's like, you know how you have like New York State exams, all that shit, right? This is a true story. They would take things over to the assembly room, right? And I kid you fucking not, they would call out kids' names and grades and have them stand the fuck up. So, by the way, despite my social ineptitude, I was a pretty smart fucking kid. So, imagine being very socially awkward, but at the same time getting the target painted on your back of being one of the few 5 people who stand up when they say, New York State exam, A's, A+, all that, and then also having your name on the walls when it says high honor roll. As you can imagine, that placed a giant fucking target on my back, basically screaming, hi, bully me. It wasn't at all pleasant, and I was quite frankly bullied a lot worse because of their systems of basically, instead of publicly putting up kids that are doing well or telling kids to get better, doing it in front of literally fucking everybody, which is shameable, and I hope that someone never has to fucking go through that, because it is fucking terrible to be put on a pedestal when you're already in a very shitty fucking situation yourself socially, because it basically just tells everyone to fucking hate you. And that's what happened. I had no friends at school, to the point where even the new kids, I'd be like friends to them for a day, and then they'd realize that the popular thing to do, the safe thing to do, was to fucking shit on me. And it'd go from one day to being like, oh, we're friends, to you're a fucking little shit, a stupid idiot, go fucking kill yourself, shit like this, you're retarded. Horrible words, quite frank. And because of that, of course, my home situation got even worse. At this point, I was eating lunch in the school counselor's room, and also changing in a different changing room for Jim, because one of the kids fucking nearly damn waterboarded me in the water fountain. So yeah, at this point, the abuse was turning physical. It was fucking terrifying. The only place for me that would have been safe was quite frankly home, and well, a war was raging on there as well. So let's just say nothing was really going well for me at this point in my life. I had no escape, nothing. I quite frankly wanted to die. Of course, this led me to believe that there was something wrong with me. Extremely. These questions are of course horrible for someone in like 6th grade to be fucking asking themselves, but you know, it's life. Of course, that's when the crippling depression started kicking in and all that with the whole existential crisis. But yeah, I was just physically abused in that place and verbally abused by all the kids. And quite frankly, my school had another frowned upon system that I think should never be fucking reenacted, if ever it is possible for it not to be, where, fun fact, they would do witnesses on kids who reported being bullied. So what happens, do you think, if a kid reports being bullied, right? But to uphold their how do I say, rules, the school can't really punish the kid because all the witnesses came forth also fucking hate the kid that was being bullied. So what do you think happens then? Well, nothing gets done about it, and the kid who accused them gets put into fucking detention. Despite, and the only time, by the way, the other kids went to detention is when there was literal camera evidence of this happening. Despite the clear and obvious mental effects of the abuse taking a toll on me, and the fact that I had no reason to lie about this at the time, nor was socially smart enough to come up with this ploy to get other kids in trouble that I don't like. To be quite frank, book smart, street fucking stupid when it came to me at the time. So what happened is, around 7th grade, I was spending almost every day in detention due to this blatantly corrupt system that they put forth. Of course, that led me to hate the detention teacher just as much, and it led to horrible mental effects at home, to the point where the verbal abuse was getting so bad, my mother was starting to have to call the cops to get me to basically get scared and shut the fuck up. So around, you know, every like 2 weeks there'd be cops in my house, and every day I was getting bullied, and every day my mom were basically yelling at each other to some fucking degree. My only savior at this time in my fucking life was the online world. Which, to you, my friends, who sit here and wonder why I spend so much time on video games, it is because, if anything I'm dependent on, it is escapism. I'm an addict to that shit, like it's my fucking drug. I hate reality because of how much it has, quite frankly, been an absolute fucking disappointment to me. So, at the time I was given a console, right? It was the console I'm actually playing this game on now, the Xbox One S. It was for Christmas by my mom's, well, boyfriend at the time. He was trying to, of course, warm up to me. He did the right play. But that's when I found a game known as Destiny, and when my life started to take a turn for the better. While I was playing Destiny, I met my first ever friends. I still know some of them to this fucking day. One of them I consider to be, quite frankly, my brother, and I talk to him every day. He is some of the biggest family I have ever had. He's a lovable soul, and I love him to death. No homo, if he ever sees this. But because he'll know what I'm talking about. If I remember the situation correctly, I was patrolling on Mars on Destiny, and I was using an exotic gun that apparently he didn't have, and he messaged me and said, "Hey, how do I get that gun?" I like helping people, whether or not people have disappointed me. That's what I found out about myself in this situation. I told him, you know what? I'll help you. Get it. I know how to get it. It's like, alright, sweet. He invited me to a party. I did not have a mic at the time, so I was sitting there party chatting. He sat there and talked to me. He was kind. The kindest person I met. And to be quite frankly, he's why I bought a mic. One of the happiest days of that year was when I logged on to Xbox and I messaged him. I said, "Yo, I finally have a mic." He invited me to a party in seconds, and we talked for hours and hours and hours on end, killing strike bosses. It was amazing. He accepted me for who I was, not who I could be, or what I'm not. He just accepted me for who I am in the moment. And that is something, a lesson that I have carried on with me for all this time. That no matter what situation it is, I will treat someone as they are in the moment, not what they could be, and not what they were, who they are now. Through like making Destiny private matches, of course, I was getting confident boosts, and I was meeting new people through making LFG posts on Xbox. 6 people, quite frankly, come to my mind. One of them, of course, being Beast. Okay, just kind of dropped part of his Xbox name because, but that was the guy who I met on the Mars Patrol. My brother right there, man. But another thing that happened was I met 5 other people besides him, who I consider to be my extended family. I know blood is thicker than water, but humans are 75% composed of water, so to ignore that as well is stupid. If that logic makes any fucking sense. We considered each other to be brothers. We were a family. At around 8th grade, the abuse was getting terrible at school. My only calming mechanism was the fact of the escapism, which didn't really help my situation at home because, well, what are you going to do as a mother when you see your kid misbehaving? You're going to take away something he really likes. So what did my mom take away? Well, the video games. What was my one coping mechanism? Well, the video games. So what did that cause us to do? Scream at each other a lot more, and quite frankly made our home situation a lot more volatile, even if it made my emotional state a little bit better, because quite frankly I hated losing the accessibility to escape, the freedom I got from it, and the people I met that I considered to be my only friends. To this day, I still barely have any IRL friends. I think I have met one. We now mostly commune over online, but we met in, I'll get to it. But, that was when I was in 12th grade when I finally met my first IRL friend. So to put that in perspective, that is a lot of time alone and scared.
Winds southerly at about 15 with gusts of 25 miles an hour.
What ended up happening is the cops were getting called more frequently because of the situation at home being as bad as it was.
We'll be looking for a little bit of a change tomorrow,
and the school situation, of course, getting even worse, which caused more stress at home. While I was pressured to keep good grades because I was a straight A student, it was a horrible mix, a terrible, god-awful fucking mix of a shit show. So, where'd it go from here? Around 8th grade, the abuse got so fucking bad that I straight up decided one day when I was in the detention that I didn't want out of the school. And complete honesty here, what I did was some of the most ballsy shit I've ever done and the stupidest. But at the same time, what else was I supposed to do in that situation? I was in detention and I was mentally done. It was to the point where my mind was quite frankly broke. I was so fucking mentally just done and tired that probably at that point, despite the escapism, because I was almost losing it every other day, I just wanted to die. I looked at my detention teacher with a straight face and I deadass told her, because we were arguing, I fucking hated her. And I was in detention almost every day due to this whole false reporting thing. There was no false reports. And the principal knew this, yet they had to uphold their rules. Whatever. Such a broken fucking system. But, no kid ever has to go through it. And I hope that system is 100% completely and utterly fucking replaced for a better one, because that was just blatantly abusive. Because the school therapist already knew that this was happening, and there was nothing we could do. It was the school's embedded rules. Bullshit like that, PR speech. There's no excuse for what happened. There shouldn't be. But anyway, lighter terms, and I do look on this with fond memories because, quite frankly, I view this as one of my smarter decisions. If you would like to know what I did, well, here's the obvious. I looked at the detention teacher after a long-winded argument with her, and I straight up told her, I am going to shit in your fucking sink. They had a bathroom in that room, you know? And I deadass told her, I'm gonna shit in your fucking sink. That's what I'm going to do. Why did I do that? Well, because quite frankly, my rep was already bad, being in detention all the time, and I knew this would get me expelled. Was I right? Fuck yes, I was. Am I happy I was right? More than ever, because it got me out of that shitty situation. It got me quite far away from it. By getting me expelled and arrested. Because what did I do after she said, oh, you won't fucking do it? Called me a coward. You know what I did? I looked her in the eyes, I went to the bathroom, and I shat in her fucking sink. Which got me promptly expelled, which caused a giant fucking argument at home, which then led to, of course, me getting arrested. Because at this point, the cops were at my house on a weekly basis, and they were done with my shit, so I got arrested and moved to a mental hospital. Which was terrifying to me at the time of only 8th grade. And, yeah, that fucking happened. So, imagine how I felt. Feeling alone without the ability to go and escape. I was fucking terrified. Cried almost every night while I was there. Mental institutions are fucking horrible, by the way. But, anyway. That's not the point. I'm not talking about what I'd like to fix with the mental institutions. I was there for 2 months. Was able to home visit on the weekends. When I was on the weekends, I talked, of course, with people like Sir Brothers. I never told them that this was going on because I was afraid that they would judge me, cripplingly terrified. They never knew. One of the reasons why I'm getting this out now, so they know what I was going through. I was on during the week, and it wasn't because I was busy at school, it's because I was breaking down. At this point, the relationship between my mom and I was a damaged, shitty fucking mess. I, of course, blamed her for calling the cops on me at the time. Even though if I was in her situation, I don't know, quite frankly, what I would have done as well. And she felt shit enough for doing it herself already. So, at this point, no, I don't blame her. Although at the time I did. Which only led to a worse situation between her and I. Of course. So... after this 2-month break where they were fucking with my medication, and by the way, yes, in said facility I was also physically abused. Which was great. Got my ass kicked by people 2 times the fucking size of little skinny fucking me. Curled up in a ball as they were punching me. People and the staff of the facility was trying to get them fucking off of me. Of course, this was very damaging to me. Of course, traumatic even. One of the reasons why I do have PTSD. And by the way, while this was all going on, my school was trying to find me another school to be in because, you know, I shit in a sink. Oh, and by the way, the principal that I fucking hate, she had to pick up my shit. Because the janitor was off duty. Fucking bitch deserved it. So the shit she put me through, I put her through some literal shit. Of course, this was not the story over for my torment, because life had other plans for me. Plans that would, quite frankly, break me down. But you know, that's fucking life. Of course, me, the kid who got bullied most of his life, can never get it easy. What a shame that would be. As you can see, my resent for life is clearly fucking showing. But... this all turned into, of course, a shit show at home once I finally got, released in the home. Where, of course, I already blamed my mom for all this bullshit. Which was unfair to her at the time, admittedly. And I'm sorry, Mom. That was wrong of me. I know you've heard it before, but I doubt you'll even see this, but know that I'm sorry. Anyway. The other issue here was, about 2 weeks after I was released home, I was not going to school because they didn't give me a new school yet. I was sent to another mental hospital for about a month. Because the situation at home sparked up again. Cops were called, tracked off to the cop car in handcuffs, kicking and screaming, and, well, that's all she wrote. Another month of physical and mental degrading bullshit. And, well, I went to another school after that. If you'd like to know if the situation changed from me getting bullied at all, well, no, it didn't at all. Quite frankly, the situation was just not physical, but was definitely verbal. At this point, I was completely damaged and suffered from multiple crippling diagnoses. My medication was in fucking scrambles as well, which didn't really help. But, anyway, back to with the conversation at hand. Stayed about in that school for 3 months, and student home sparked up again, and this time I was put in a facility about road, so a good while away from my home, about 6 hours away. For 6 months. Half a year. I missed out on holidays with my family. Missed out on talking to my friends. I couldn't even visit them for 6 months. Of course, the excuses I made were abundant. It was painful. It hurt me a lot, to say the least. Not being there, not having them there by my side. They accepted me with open arms when I came back, but that didn't change the pain I felt. This experience is traumatic. They had like isolation rooms and all that for misbehaving kids, to be quite frank. So if you freaked out, you go into the little chamber, and it was basically like a mini scream thing. Your screams are mauled in that bitch. Fucking traumatizing, but no kid should ever have to go through what I've been through. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna give a TLDR because, quite frankly, the situation doesn't change for a while. My situation at home only grew worse, and throughout my life at this time, I switched through 3 separate schools, not counting the 2 original, and was bullied more and more. Situation at home got worse, and I went to 7 separate mental hospitals. Until my last one, which was, well, known as Hillside. Now, if that name comes familiar to you, it's because you've been involved in the mental health sphere, and in fact, a few weeks after I left that place, it was shut down for mistreat of patients and a lot of abuse. Some sexual, none that I was involved in, don't worry. But others physical. I was involved in that. I was physically abused by some staff. How long was I there? That was... I need to turn off my notifications. That was 6... That was 2 years of my life. Around 16 to 18. That was my life. In a mental institution, what they would call a long-term placement scenario. I would get weekend home visits where I'd hang out with the fam, aka the boys I played Destiny with. And my mom, which during those weekends, quite frankly, we argued a lot. I wouldn't come out of my room, refused to talk to her, because when we did talk, well, we just screamed at each other. That's not far off from the truth. It's the exact truth. To the point where around a year and a half into my payment at said facility, I started living with my grandmother on the weekend home visits. Because the situation was so bad at home that it was just not safe for us. Sometimes the cops were called during weekend home visits. It was mostly me just blaming her for all the shit that happened, and her not knowing what to do with me. Because, well, our relationship at that time was a fucking shit show. To put it lightly. At that point, I was quite sure we hated each other. What made the situation even worse is about a year into my, well, I call it containment. That's why not the best word. My stay there. It's more or less a containment, but I found a girlfriend. My first love. My, what a bitch she was. She was a friend of mine, one of my 6 best friends, brothers. Met her and we became friends quickly, and we started talking. Mind you, this was still on home visits. She didn't know about it. I didn't tell her. It was just always, oh, I'm busy at school, you know, all the time, studying, gotta keep straight A's. It was a lie, of course, but what ended up happening is, well, we fell in love. Friends to lovers. She was a troubled mind like mine, which, quite frankly, may be why I felt comfortable talking to her. Well, quite frankly, that was the same with most of my friends. They were all social outcasts. Outside of Beast. But he's special in his own right. Love you, man. Anyway, once again, scrambled brain. Got around 2 hours of sleep last night, none of it deep, and 2 hours is a definitely buffed estimation. But, this is not coming out the way I wanted it to, but it's at least coming out honest. Anyway. We dated for about a long ass while. To the point where, by the time we stopped dating, I was already out in a new school, but at this point I was in 12th fucking grade. We dated for about a year. I was in 12th grade now, and yes, so most of literally all of my 9th and 11th grade were spent in said long-term facility, which was a long-term place facility, which was called Hillside, which was also, by the way, shut the fuck down. Horrible, god-awful, and deplorable. And straight up abusive to its clients. Or residents, as you would call them. And quite frankly, picture a long-term facility as a long-term hotel that you never wanted to fucking go to. Because that's what it is. You have a room, you stay there, and they fuck around with your medication, and you talk to a bunch of people you don't want to talk to that don't fucking know you. Outside of a paycheck. You were detained with other kids as well. Each, you know, I guess you could call them sections of it, had around 6 to 8 children in it. It would give education. It was terrible, by the way. Education was horrible. Anyway, what ended up happening is I was on good behavior long enough to, of course, finally get released. I was good behavior with my mom and all that. And of course, our situation at home was still fucking bad, but was nowhere near as bad as it was back then. And at this next school I was in, I was not bullied, by the way. For 1 year of school, quite frankly, but whatever. Anyway. Back onto the girl. Because this is a big part of something that caused me damn well mental trauma. Turns out she was schizophrenic. Tried to help her with this to the best of my ability. I was always a support pillar in our friend group, despite going through the most shit. So, I've always tried to help her, be there for her, smile, all that. Well, one day let's just say, before raging home got too bad. Grandma was yelling at my grandma. We were arguing, and I was also having a dispute with my friends, and she was in the conversation as well, and I lashed out at her. This led to her breaking up with me. And for emotional clarity and honesty, what I told to her, I don't blame her, because what I quite frankly said was words that I will never utter again to someone that I loved. And that was, can you just shut the fuck up? Because not by the way, I'm gonna explain this because that was not just can you shut the fuck up. We were arguing as well because she was involved in this friend's dispute. So on top of the yelling with my grandma in the middle of this party, I basically lashed out at both of my friend and her and said, can all of you shut the fuck up and go kill yourself? Because it would make it easier for me. I regret those words with every fiber of my being. It's a cowardice phrase, and I hate it. Of course, at the time, I didn't see myself to blame. To me, I was in the right because everyone was attacking me from my perspective, and I lashed out. Was that the wrong perspective? Part of me wants to say a lot of people in my position would have lashed out because of everything going on in their life. But at the same time, it does not excuse the deplorable thing that I said. He broke up with me, and my heart was broken. Because for once in my life, I felt, well, safe in someone's arms, and that all disappeared to me in an instant. This was the first time that I figured out why I felt so shit, that in a crowd of people, I myself felt alone. This is the closest, by the way, after this breakup, the closest I have ever gotten to genuinely committing suicide. Because after this situation, by the way, she did something equally as deplorable. She strung my hopes along. Like a devil bitch. Even my friends at the time who knew I did something wrong agreed that what she did was fucking deplorable. Because what she fucking did was 7 separate times come back and lie to me, saying that she'd give me another chance, just for an hour later to, well, say it was bullshit. And of course, every time I fell for it because, well, I wanted that back. I desired that. And more than anything, that is something I wanted. I wanted her back. Even if I knew at the time it wasn't healthy for me. Because, well, in those moments in your life, you're not thinking, are you? About what's best for you. You just want that person back. So, I had a phase of extreme codependency, to say the least. Where I was, to say the honest thing, desperate to find companionship. After the 7th time she lied to me, struck my hopes up, getting my hopes up, and to just, well, quite frankly, strike them the fuck down. Riddle. Wait. Do I hate her for this? Yes. Another reason I hate her is because she also caused my friend group to go into a rapid decline after she decided to sleep around in the friend group with the original friend who introduced me to her, which is someone I knew for 6 years and considered a brother, and of course at this time I felt fucking betrayed. betrayed. Our relationship since then has really not been the same. And I hope one day I can make it up to him and we can make it up. And we can find peace with each other again, because I miss him. If he ever sees this, he knows I'm talking about him. And man, I miss you. You were a brother to me. And losing him, honestly, I can't tell what was more impactful. Losing her or losing him. And I think, honestly, looking back on it, it was losing him. Because I miss him to this day. Do I miss her? No, because she fucked up with what she did to me. God damn it. After that, the whole lying and deceit and all that, of course, being just genuinely fucked up. Instead of blatantly being crude to anyone who's ever gone to a broken heart, you know how hard it is to be strung along, especially when you're desperate like that. So, that was my first heartbreak, and this is when I started getting distrust in therapy. Because at the time, during one of the times that she was lying to me, I was in the school counselor's office in 12th grade. You know, explaining my distress, trying to give some genuine trust to someone. And I explained that I have no intent to kill myself, but right now, sometimes I feel as though dying would be easier than living on. Now, mind you, if I was to kill myself, I would have fucking done that shit already. Because to me, have definitely at the time with all the bullying, was probably been through worse. I was going through worse. But sure, at this time, I guess you could say he was just doing his fucking job. But for me, it sowed so much distrust into me. Because what he did was he called the cops. And I got detained in my last short-term placement in mental facility, in which they thought I was, of course, suicidal. I tested to not be fucking suicidal because I had no interest in killing myself. I just said that I expressed a feeling of despair in which I felt like death might be an escape. But would I take that? No, because I expressed openly that I felt like suicide was a coward's way out. And that it would be straight up fucking against everything I stand for. Because even then I had morals in this low place. To kill myself. And that I refused to do that. I came back and I hated this therapist, by the way. That was in the same school. 2 weeks in another scarring mental facility, where I got to sleep in another bed that was not my own, with my friends. Because why? Because I, quite frankly, expressed a reasonable amount of despair for the situation I was in. Yes, sure, you could say he was just doing his job, but if your job is to do that, then don't do your fucking job. I get that sometimes kids can actually be suicidal, but if someone is genuinely telling you that, you know, despite these feelings, they are conscious enough to not make that mistake, don't fuck over their trust issues. It's such a fucked up position to put a kid in. Because with what I was going through, it was not abnormal to want that. And to make that mistake again, never talking to someone about my issues. One of the main reasons why I've kept secret now until this day about the shit I've gone through. They've dealt me a horrible hand, but what was I to do about it? Complaining wouldn't have got me anywhere. So, after I broke up with this girl, after, of course, the mental facility, which then the breakup was obviously solidified, she couldn't really contact me anymore. Despite me still trying to, at that point, lying to myself, saying there was still a chance, there wasn't. Came back to a really shattered friend group because of what my other friend dated her, and it was not okay. And he admits at the time that was not his right decision. Everyone else thinks it wasn't his right decision, but I think I also could have handled it better. But the situation is done over with now. I just hope one day I can make amends for how I handled it. We can be friends again. Anyway, so this situation, as you can tell, is fucking terrible. Because what it led me with was a feeling of codependency, which led me into a horrible, horrible situation in which I dated about 20 separate girls in the span of a year. Most of them confessed to me. I actually never confessed to any of them. And that was because of this feeling of codependency, this feeling of longing and want. So when I was desperate, I was searching, which is where my philosophy of, well, a well-nourished philosophy that a lot of people believe in is if you're looking for something, you're not going to fucking find it. A lot of these relationships only lasted a week because I would break up because, quite frankly, they would say the words like, I love you in like a fucking week's time or a day or two when they barely fucking knew me. To me, that was an immediate red flag. Despite even my desperate attempts of wanting love, I still had some level of sensibility. Even at the time, if that sensibility was minimal or thin stretched, it was sensible enough. But anyway, how the situation basically ended up going is, what ended this codependency streak is when I met probably the second love of my life. Sweet girl at the start. Turns out she was hiding the fact that she was schizophrenic to me. Yes, the second schizophrenic I've dated. And trust me, during that year I dated someone with MPD for 2 months as well that was hiding that from me as well. So you can imagine how good these fucking figures were, right? They were great. Anyway, enough about that. What ended up happening with this girl is we dated for about 6 months. Fell in love. They were in love with me. And turns out they were hiding schizophrenia from me, which led to trust issues in said relationship, which did not bode well for us. And how the relationship ended is this bitch faked her suicide. Which, yes, at the time also snapped me out of what I was going through, caused me great trauma. Because at that time, I was also obsessed nearly with helping people. I still am. I love helping people. So at that time, her killing herself, I thought I was worthless. I thought I was powerless. I couldn't help her even despite my love for her. I felt worthless. This led to many life-changing moments where I stopped dating, of course. I let people find me instead of me looking. For all the good things that came with this, there was an equal or more amount of terrible things, like a lot more PTSD. Because, of course, losing someone like that is going to be fucking traumatic to you. And by the way, I only found out that it was fake 3 days ago when the guilt welled up inside said person, and they decided to message me, saying that it was fake and that they're sorry and that they want to make amends. I still don't know whether I should trust them or not and make amends with them. I'm leaning towards no, don't worry. Try to make a smart decision. But yes, most of my teenage years was spent in mental institutions, in and out of mental institutions, in and out of different schools, being bullied, and quite frankly, missing out on a lot of family moments that I wish I was a part of. Missing out on being a kid. Something I wish no kid had to go through. Graduated with a Regents diploma. And moved out of my mom's house and our relationship started getting better. Thankfully now we're at a point where our relationship is fully repaired and we have a good mother and son bond, and that's amazing. But what also happened this year is I almost lost my mom to a traumatic brain injury where she fell down the stairs and suffered internal hemorrhaging in her brain. That to me was extremely traumatic. Of course, it was near the same time where still around 6 months after this girl faked suicide, I was still going through all that shit. And to me, it was very traumatic. Of course, some of my closest friends knew this happened because I just broke down talking to them about it. She's still suffering with said brain injury, going through amnesia. Of course, now I'm terrified that she's going to forget me. God forbid, but all I can do now is be there for her. Be there for her. Be a good son. And thank her for not giving up on me. Quite frankly, God knows there's a million mothers out there that would have given up on me. Back on track, I kind of skipped ahead a few. Stayed at home, started improving. Although at this point, I lost most of my original friend group. 5 of them to be exact, the only one with me, Beast. The first friend I ever made. I'm being honest with myself. I started rebuilding a relationship with them, but one of them I lost to a battle with their mental health. An actual suicide. Not faked. If I remember correctly, it got so bad where he was gambling. I joined a call once and it was so depressing. He had a bunch of weed brownies and normal brownies mixed in a bag. And he said, "Oh, let's play a game." I said, "What type of game?" He said, "I'm going to start rolling this dice, and if it hits 3 to 6, I'll eat a normal brownie. If it's 1 to 3, I'll hit weed brownie." He just kept rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling until the bag was empty. He just wanted that high. So one day the high got him. He tried heroin. And I lost him to drugs. Poor bastard. Fucking loved him. Miss him. Hold up. I lost 2 other friends because of the one friend who dated my ex, and the 2 other friends were more close to him. I lost them. The other friend made him butted heads a lot, like shitty sibling rivalries. We laugh at it now, but we're getting closer. Started talking again, and thankfully I've had his back. Great man. Got married, is having twins. Love him to death. Bad for men. I mean that. I'd gladly take a bullet for everyone who's been there for me throughout the years and accepted me for who I am. Of course, as all people do, I've dealt with betrayal, heartbreak, betrayal, heartbreak, losing friends, losing family, hating myself for all of it, blaming myself, doubting myself. It came to the point where I didn't want to blame other people and I just blame myself. And I don't want to do that anymore because some people, even when they say, hey, this is my fault, I'll still sit here and I'll blame myself for it. So I think saying that something's wrong, like saying that I did something wrong to me is a lot easier than accepting that somebody wanted to hurt me. Of course, that's where I've developed my philosophy of that I hate hypocrites, I hate people who talk shit behind my back, and I hate liars. I'd rather have someone talk shit to my face, because I'm now strong enough to take it. It's not like I haven't heard it before, than somebody talk shit behind my back. I've been through a lot in life. So much so, I'm gonna go on like, kind of like a tangent, just admitting shit that I've done that I regret. I went through a period in my life where after that breakup, I started using sex as a coping mechanism. Hardcore kinks, shit like master/slave, shit like that. Pet kinks, all that shit. I don't know why, but sex to me was an addiction. I got addicted to it. I'm disgusted by myself now, and I've completely moved past that part of my life. I fell back into that addiction only once, and I quickly pulled myself out of it. And I've, of course, blocked and unfriended all of my enablers for that addiction. Sex is not a good coping mechanism. Neither is any unhealthy coping mechanism like self-harm or drugs and shit like that. Sex to me, I felt like I was pathetic. I felt disgusted with myself. I hated myself. Took me about 2 months to break out of that first addiction, and about a week to break out of the next one. Only one person knows that I've had this problem. Thank you for accepting me for who I am and looking past that. You know who this is if you're watching this, because you would have been the only one to hear about this beforehand. So thank you. You're an amazing person. This is a really dumb one, but it's still something I regret. I had a great grandma. I had, of course, because she passed away. But she wanted me to kiss her, and as a 4-year-old autistic with, of course, sensory issues of overstimulation, I did not want to do that. Because, oh, she was wrinkly. She ended up passing away. And since I was 6, I had enough emotional maturity, I guess, to apparently regret that. And I still do. I wish that I just puckered at my fucking lips and kissed my great-grandma on the cheek, instead of just always hugging her while moving my face away from hers, showing clear and obvious disgust through my lack of absolute social skills. That was probably one of the first times I realized that time is as precious as it is. Do I regret that? Yes. I don't believe in an afterlife. I'm an atheist because, quite frankly, if there was a God, I don't think I would have gone through half the shit I've gone through, because I've helped a lot of people. I've dealt most of these battles on my own. But if I'm wrong by some freak chance and there is a God out there and great grandma, you're looking down at me from the heavens, I'm sorry. And if God forbid I make it to the same afterlife as you, I will give you all the kisses you missed out on. I'm sorry. No matter how wrinkly your skin is, it's aged like a crocodile, I don't care. I'm sorry. You're a great person. Love you. Great grandma. Anyone I've ever hurt, if there are people out there, I'm sure that my controller just died. I'm sorry. I'm sure whatever I did, I blamed you for at the time, and quite frankly, it was probably my fault. But the people who have hurt me, they damn well know it's your fault. Watch your fucking ass, bitch. I got people on my back. You're about as sick of your shit as I am. You know, say what you will to me, but talk shit about my friends, I'll clap back in an instant. 'Cause my friends, those are my fucking lifeline right there. Anyway. To go on about what happened, throughout my life I've suffered a great deal of losses, very minimal gains, and if I did have a gain, it never came easy. The one thing I've had a gain for is due to my autism spectrum disorder, and it's the only thing that's ever come easy for me in life. Due to my autism spectrum disorder, there's a plan called, how is it called? It's something like Simple Living, or I forget its fucking name, but thank you to them. Due to my autism spectrum disorder, apparently I basically get a very hefty disability, with just a buff, I guess. And that's the reason why I'm currently living alone, and why my situation with my mom has improved due to such. Because they paid for my apartment, still are. Still working to get a job and all that shit and become a better human being. Learn from my mistakes, my faults, shit like that. I'm always improving. But the reason why I wanted to post this and get everything out there, everything I've been through in life, for two reasons. The one thing is to spread the message, to never give up no matter what the fuck you're going through. There are plenty of times when I sat there and thought giving up might be so fucking easy, but if I fucking did, if I did, so help me God, the people I would have hurt in the process would not have been worth it. I would not have the memories I had now. And the other reason is, well, I guess there's three. So people who I have talked to and have decided to, of course, hurt me can stop using shit I've told them in confidence as an insult. Because now it's public fucking information, cunts. So, get off my ass. Can't release any info about me that isn't already known. course, these are disgusting people who have been making these threats. Horrid individuals that would like to take advantage of me. And my over-willingness to help people despite them fucking me over. And the other reason is to gain some level of clarity through emotional vulnerability. I want this to be out there because to me, this is like me breaking free from my chains, breaking free from the things I've dealt with in my past. Breaking freedom. Something that I haven't really had because no matter who knows me, they never really know what I've been through. And that does make me feel alone. So I guess putting this out there as public information helps me in that feeling of aloneness. And it helps me break free from the chains in the past that I frown on myself for. Being in a mental hospital, I'm still ashamed of myself for that, despite me really not having much control over that. Did I really just... Alright. But now, what's to be ashamed about? It's public information. Everyone fucking knows it. So what am I to be ashamed about? I know that me being ashamed about it was stupid to begin with, but this is a way of helping me, I guess, cope with that stupidity. That self-hate, that self-doubt, the lack of self-worth. Get everything out in the open on what I've been through, despite how hard this was for me, how tired I was, how god-awful I did not want to wake up in the morning and fucking do this. To me, shows progress in myself. Because no matter how much I've been able to help people, God knows I've been making minimalist strides in actually helping myself. So, this is me saying, I'm working on it. And to those who have helped me in the past, you're not forgotten. And I remember you every single day of my life as someone who's made a positive impact on my life, on someone who has, quite frankly, saved me. So thank you for everything. If it wasn't for you, God knows where I'd be. To all of you who said I shouldn't do this, thank you for worrying about me. I knew, though, the negative effects that this could have, but quite frankly, to me, the positive effects definitely overweighed it. The ability to be free, the ability to see myself for who I am, like I do with others, shit like that. Thank you for worrying about me, though, and you worrying about me will certainly not be forgotten. I love you guys. My friends are my heart, my soul, my fire, my flame. And I thank you for the strength you've given me over the years, the acceptance, the love. Nobody else would. Thank you to my mother for putting through with my shit. Quite frankly, to put it bluntly, you had a lot of shit to go through. And you're one hell of a boss-ass bitch for doing it. The amount of verbal abuse that we just threw at each other, mostly because I fucking started it, was horrible. And thank you for sticking with me. Always wanting the best for me, even now, despite your physical condition. I always tell you to stop trying to help me. I guess you're just like me, an empath at heart. I love you. If it wasn't for you, I don't know if I'd be half as loving and caring as I am today. You're an amazing woman, and I think I wish that every kid had a chance at a mother like you. Maybe the world would be a lot better place if that was the case. Thanks, Mom. You're amazing. Every single part of you is. And you're amazing for the things that you've helped me with. So thanks. I'm speechless at the things that you've forgiven me for, Mom. Thank you. And another thing that I need to come out on is that I forgot, due to the fact that coronavirus has upheld that I'm currently in a legal battle with said Shay. If you remember from earlier, that is my father who abandoned me, biological father. Who, by the way, he's in a legal battle with me currently. He took his son to court for child support because he's a lazy ass bitch. Who's even in debt when it comes to child support payments, who's never fucking on with them, so quite frankly, I'm angry at him that he put my mom through all this shit without his fucking financial support by leaving her alone. He's fucking pathetic, a loser. If ever I have a kid, I will make sure to learn from his fucking mistake and never leave my child. That's fucking disgusting and deplorable what he did. Anything is gain, it's that to never put your kid through that shit. Taking him to court, come on, man, that's fucking pathetic. You're a loser. Nowhere near as strong as my mom. Another thing I wanted to go over is that during my life, at one point in it, I did go through a phase of extreme emotional numbness due to all the shit that I went through, where in fact, I wanted to not only just... To the people out there who say, well, I want to feel like, I don't want to feel anything, 'cause I'm feeling so sad. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You anger me to no fucking degree because you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Because if that wish ever fucking came true, you would be begging on your fucking knees to feel like god awful shit once more. Because feeling like nothing is the worst feeling of them all. It is the most painful thing. So don't ever come at me with this fucking bullshit. You'd love to feel numb. Shut the fuck up. You have no idea what it's like to be numb. So please, miss me with that shit. Genuinely. Migraine, headache, and just emotionally tired and mentally tired. I wanted to get this out there so I could feel amazing, and quite frankly, this to me is more. Right now, even with how tired I am, I feel relief. I feel this giant pain off my chest just isn't there anymore because I'm free. Free from the things I once doubted myself. not to say they won't have negative effects in the future, I separately. But when it comes to the majority of the feelings of self-doubt and all that, so happy I made this one. There is one last thing I'm going to do. Because right now I'm just admittedly a coward talking about it. I'm gonna change that. Even if I don't really need to, a lot of socials you have our link in my account. It'll take you to places with easy information. My computer at me. This is me. This is the guy behind the screen. The world to let be known bear. Take full accountability for the things I've gone through in my life, and I'm a better person because of it. But the scars are there. Never once cut myself. Stronger than that. I'm gonna continue to fucking improve. Promise the people I love and myself. My parents, to my friends, to my family and my extended family that I call, you know, the brothers. Like Beast and all that. I love you guys. And it's for you. To the future. To the future. 2020 is hard. People fucking get through that shit. I can say you can as well. Let's fucking go. It's been your boy, Jacob Gavin, who's a worker, signing the fuck out. No, I'm not using my online alias because I ain't hiding from shit. Thank you for anyone who watches this. This has been my journey. Scatterbrained as fuck, but this has been my journey nonetheless. And before you question the reasoning for doing this, it was definitely for the emotional clarity, because nobody has a gun to my head, and quite frankly, this was of my own doing. After I've been through a lot the past few days, I decided this is something I need. There's no reason for me to lie about any of this shit. I don't even feel like I need to say that 'cause it's fucking obvious. But